The film begins on May 13, 2022, with the introduction of Miles, the owner of a large corporation. He sends a special puzzle box to his 5 friends as they got it, they solve it, and finally open the box. They got a card in it that was sent by Miles, who called them to Greece. It was an invitation. Miles has written, "I will play a game named Murder Mystery with you when you all will come." After it, an old man is shown who was a clever detective, and he also got that puzzle box from Miles along with the card. It was of a party and they have to come at any cost. In the next scene, his all friends reach Greece. The place Miles called them. Miles's friend, who was a fashion designer, has brought her companion with her. His YouTuber friend brings his friend, and among all of them, there was an old worker of the company named Andy. Seeing her, they all become surprised because Miles terminated her years ago because of a fight. Miles sent a lovely ship for them to take them to the lovely island of Miles named Glass Onion. They reach the island and it was a lovely scene. Miles meet them and show them the island. Seeing all this, they go to their rooms to take rest. Later, Miles takes the detective to his room and asks what is he doing here. "Because I didn't call you here, even I didn't send you any invitation." The detective shows him the card and says, "You sent me this in that puzzle box. If you didn't call me here, so maybe any of your friends has fixed the puzzle box and send it to me. Maybe they have done it as fun," and Miles says it is good. "How good it will be that a famous detective like you will be a part of my murder mystery game." Now they go to pool for spending a good time, and Miles's YouTuber friend says, "When I was moving somewhere last week, Miles was also going somewhere on car, but he was driving fast, so fast that he couldn't see me. He was almost about to end me." After it, when they were taking rest at a place, the detective asks Miles how he and his friends become so successful. Miles responds that there is wisdom behind it, that no matter what the thing is, start with a small step. That will become bigger with every step with the passage of time, and implementing on this, we are successful today. Meanwhile, Andy, the old worker of the company, arrives whom Miles terminated. She says to the detective Miles answered it wrong because today they are successful because of Miles, as he helped them in wrong tasks, and she leaves after saying this. Now the friend of Miles' fashion designer friend reaches Miles and says, "You asked my friend to give false statement, but I don't want her to do any wrong task. Because all the media and channels are already against her, but Miles says this is not my headache. I asked her to do, so she has to do it," and the detective was hearing them from a distance. Now the YouTuber is shown exploring the island, but then he sees her friend whom he will get married with, Miles. It means there is something between them, and the girl is deceiving him. He becomes sad and doesn't say anything. The detective was also watching all this. Miles arranged a party for them at night and tells them while showing Mona Lisa's real painting that "I have brought it from a museum," and then gives detective a small piece of chemical. It was like crystal, but it contains many powers. It has fuel and energy, means it can produce fire as well as electricity. There is also danger because of its use. Giving him, Miles says, "I have many chemical crystals like this. That's why I will call famous leaders from all over the world and will tell them about this chemical. I will tell them my company has found it with the help of salted water, and when this chemical will become famous, its demand will increase. My company will also get its huge benefit is that it can produce electricity, and the electric items can also work with it." Miles's friend, who was his company's scientist, stops him and says, "Look, its search isn't complete yet. The scientist of our company needs time to search on it. If you will use it, it will be dangerous." On it, Miles says nothing will happen, be patient, maybe you don't know this island is working on it. When they were sitting together at dining table, Miles says that now you all have to play a game named Murder Mystery. As I have told you before, and the game is I will be murdered falsely and the murderer will be one of you. You have to find out the murderer, but the detective tells immediately that the murderer will be the fashion designer. Miles doesn't like this, so he calls the detective separately and says, "Why did you said this? You ruined it before the game started." On it, the detective says, "I just said this, otherwise, each human who come here has a reason to end you. And maybe your life will be in danger and fun," but Miles asks, being surprised, "They are all my friends, my companions, and work for my company, so why they will end me?" The detective says, "Your scientist isn't happy from you. Because you are working on that chemical, even he forbade you, you politician friend whom you threaten, that if she will not pass this chemicals project, so you will make someone else win the election. Your fashion designer friend, she doesn't want, and even her friend doesn't want, but even then you are making her lie in front of media. The YouTuber discovers there is something between you and his friend. She is deceiving him with you. If we talk about your old friend Andy, she is your old enemy. It means your friends are your enemy for some reason." Miles shows detective a picture of his friends, and there was a handkerchief under the picture, and there was a sketch made with the help of pen. Seeing it, he tells, "I got an idea to start my company in a bar. It is named Glass Onion, and I named my island on its name and wrote that planning on a handkerchief. It is the same one, I kept it carefully till today." On another side, Andy gets into an argument with YouTubers, so she leaves. After it, Miles and the detective arrive, but YouTuber's phone starts ringing as he was getting messages from Google. He becomes surprised to see them, but then starts laughing while showing those notifications to Miles. Miles becomes astonished to see notifications, and he immediately hugs the YouTuber and asks him to shut his mouth. And after it, he declares that he is appointing the YouTuber on a senior post in his company. He can earn a good amount, and the YouTuber becomes happy hearing this. Now the question is, what were those notifications on which Miles got changed that he offered YouTuber a senior post? Why he got scared, and what was he asking the YouTuber to hide? We will discover this later. The YouTuber was happy, so he had juice offered by Miles, but in a while, he starts breathing difficulty, and he dies on the spot. They all get scared because of his sudden death, and they suspect Andy, as she disappeared before the party, and Miles sees the glass in which the YouTuber had drank. He sees his name written on the glass. That means the murderer wanted to end me, but he died. The strange thing was the gun and mobile of the YouTuber also got missing from there. Suddenly, the light of the whole island gone, and they all get panicked and start running. Meanwhile, the detective comes out and meets Andy, and he also tells her about the YouTuber's death. She becomes surprised and worried as well because of his sudden death, but then someone shoots Andy and ends her. With it, the scene shifts in past when Andy's twin sister came to the detective's house to talk to him. Here, we discovers a surprising fact that Andy died a week ago, and it is said that she has ended herself. Andy's twin sister says to the detective, "I have read Andy's diary and I found there was no tension in her life. And she was happy, then why would she end herself? Even everything was fine. That's why I suspect her friends. One of them has ended Andy and later made her murder like she ended herself, so keep this puzzle box and find out the murderer." Because all of her friends are going to Miles. Later, she tells, "Firstly, my sister, Andy got the idea to start that company, not Miles. She wrote her plan on a handkerchief, but after 2 years, a fight started between them because of the chemical. She didn't want that chemical to be used. That's why Miles gave false statement in the court with the help of his friends. But Andy just had that handkerchief to prove herself that unluckily vanished somewhere during this case. After it, Miles made that fake handkerchief like Andy and my sister lost this case just because of it. One day, Andy found that real handkerchief and then made its picture while putting it in an envelope. She shared it with all her friends except for Miles to prove that it was Andy's idea. But then the next day, Andy died and the real handkerchief also disappeared. The detective understands that there is someone among Andy's friends who is her murderer. That's why he says to Andy's sister, "I will find out her murderer, but you will also go with me as Andy on Miles Island so that you will spy on everyone and will give me information." And after it, she came to the island as Andy with the detective. She hears the conversation of the scientist and the politician while spying. The scientist tells when the chemical is used, the poisonous gas that is dangerous for humans, and the politician says, "I would never pass this chemicals project. I wasn't agree, but because Miles insisted, so I have to pass this project. Because of this project will stop, Miles will bring someone else at my place and I will be ruined." Andy's sister discovers while spying on the fashion designer that actually Miles was about to give her money, so that she will give this false statement that the idea to make this company is of Miles, not She discovers Andy. That the YouTuber intentionally asked his friend to make a relation between her friend so that he Miles will get a senior post in Miles' company through his friend. That means everyone was supporting Miles because there is their own benefit in it. Andy's sister was going to the detective to tell Miles' truth, but the YouTuber and the politician arrive. And the politician who was considering her, Andy says, "Listen, Andy, why are you angry with us? Me and scientists came to your house when you sent the picture of an envelope." The YouTuber was already there and was knocking at the door, but none opened it. "When we left, the fashion designer came to your home, but even then none opened the door." After it, Andy's sister tells all this to the detective that when Andy mailed them to prove herself, her friends came to meet her. But the door didn't open by anyone, and knowing this, the suspect of the detective removes from her friends. When Andy's sister left the party after the argue, she searched everyone's rooms. Boo, she didn't find that envelope anywhere in which there was the real handkerchief. Well, this was the story of the past, and we see in the present time, someone ends Andy's sister while she escaped her. Luckily, because she always keeps Andy's diary and the bullet stuck in it. She was pretending to die because the detective asks her to do so that they will feel she is dead. Getting a chance from it, Andy's sister goes to Miles's room and finds that envelope behind the picture. When she checked, here it proves that Miles has ended Andy. The detective says to Miles, "I find out you mix pineapple juice in YouTuber's drink. As you knew that he has an allergy of pineapple and he died as he drank it." Meanwhile, Andy's sister arrives, and she was having the real handkerchief, and the detective says when Andy mailed you about the idea with the copy. The scientist sent that mail to the scientist. Because of it, Miles becomes furious that he went to Andy's house. Miles murders her reaching there and then left immediately after stealing the handkerchief. He was driving fastly, with which the YouTuber was also about to collide. He told us when we were near the pool. When the YouTuber was getting the Google notifications, he actually discovered that Andy died. And he suspected Miles as he has seen him leaving Andy's house. After it, he started blackmailing Miles, saying that he will tell everyone that he has ended Andy. Otherwise, give me a senior post in your company. Andy's sister shows Miles the real handkerchief, and under it there was the logo of Glass Onion Bar. It means it was that bar's handkerchief. She says, "Didn't you amaze to see me that how I look?" She
Same
says,
like
"I am her
Andy."
twin sister and the bar you are talking about is closed 9 years before. Your handkerchief was made few years ago and there is no logo of Glass Onion Bar. Your handkerchief is fake and this is real." But then Miles burned that handkerchief and says, "You discovered everything about me. But sadly, you have no evidences against me that I have done all this or I have ended Andy." Now even they all know Miles' truth, but they decide to support him and refuse to give statement against him because there is their loss if they go against Miles. Andy's sister was getting sad, but the detective tells her that there is only a way to ruin Miles. "Let us break all his precious things placed here, and when Miles will have nothing, his friends will go against him." The detective places a small piece of the chemical on Andy's sister's hand while leaving that was given by Miles. Andy's sister starts speaking all the things and then set that place on fire, but Miles was still normal. He was feeling everything is fine, but then she shows Miles that small piece of the chemical. And seeing it, they all get scared including Miles, and they panic as this piece is full of fuel and energy. As she throws that piece into the fire, there was a huge explosion. Due to it, the whole place destroyed, being burnt. The detective was sitting outside watching and enjoying all this while seeing Miles' destruction. They all come out before they are burned, and Andy's sister says to Miles, "You lost and you have nothing left." Now seeing Miles ruined, his friends agree to give statement against him means Miles have ended Andy and the YouTuber. The outcome of evil and greed is the worst here, this film concludes.